The man who spent the entire lockdown in his own private ghost town. When Brett Underwood purchased Cerro Gordo, a Wild West ghost town in the Owens Valley of California, it probably never occurred to him that almost 2 years down the line, he'd be held up there as the town's sole resident, riding out a global pandemic.
All right, welcome to my crib.
Brett and his buddy John became the newest owners of Cerro Gordo in 2018. The sale closed rather fittingly on Friday the 13th, July 2018, for $1.4 million. Brett poured almost his entire life savings into the purchase, which includes over 300 acres of land and 22 buildings.
I'm just waking up here at Cerro Gordo. It's about 6 a.m. and we are in a former mining town located about 3 hours outside of LA.
Hey, what's going on, my sexy McMuffins? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for joining me. Cerro Gordo is a settlement filled with blood-stained brothels, skeletons, busted up pianos on a winded, battered, southern sloped road in the Inyo Mountains overlooking Death Valley. It was once noted to be one of the most violent towns in America. First, I'd like to get into this really cool accusation. Brett and his buddy John made this purchase for $1.4 million. Cerro Gordo. There was a time when this small cluster of mining shafts, tin sheds, and clampboard shacks was the largest producer of silver in the state of California, with a blustering township of over 4,000 residents. Now, there's only one. Brett Underwood. All in all, it was supposed to be an investment property, a chance to cash in the rich history and tourism opportunity of the area by turning the entire property into a giant, well-preserved museum, a time capsule, if you would, of the late 1800s. But after 2.5 years and a series of unexpected events, Underwood has started calling this ghost town home. Believe it or not, weird. But he started calling it home. Underwood didn't set out with the intention of buying the entire town initially. His friend sent him the ghost town property listing as a joke. After expressing interest in the ghost town, Brett started putting his resources together to make this freaking transaction happen, calling friends and family to raise capital for the purchase. After receiving a few small investments from people who wanted to get involved into something cool and taking out a last-minute hard money loan from a hard money lender, Underwood finally sealed the deal and got handed the keys to the 300-acre property. 6 months after closing on what I think is actually a really cool purchase, Brett would find himself stuck at Cerro Gordo for good. The C-19 exploded across the United States in March 2020, emptying streets, shuttering storefronts, and dismantling small business. One of those businesses happened to be a hostel in Austin, Texas, where Underwood was working and partial owner of. Up until then, he headed out to Cerro Gordo a few times, taking a week off every now and then, flying out to California, doing some work on the property, restoring some old buildings, then turning around and heading back to Austin. But the arrival of C-19 kind of for him, just like it a lot of for most people. Brett actually got stuck in a snowstorm in Cerro Gordo back in March, which had him stuck in the ghost town for merely 5 to 6 weeks. He literally could not leave. Because the roads being so steep, it became a little too dangerous for him to exit. In those first few weeks, Underwood stated that he missed the creature comforts of modern living, small things like running water, social interaction. But each day passed, he realized he was kind of warming up to the ghost town lifestyle. It turns out there are actually some perks to living alone in the middle of nowhere when a highly infectious disease is raging rampant across civilizations across the world. Since arriving in Cerro Gordo at the start of the pandemic, he has left only once to actually get his appendix removed. His health insurance was based in Texas, meaning he couldn't get the procedure covered by his healthcare provider in California. Instead, Brett flew to Austin, touched down, got that organ removed, and 2 days later hopped back on a plane to LA to his new home in Cerro Gordo. Kinda savage as if you don't mind me putting in my 2 cents of the situation. Underwood's day-to-day life typically plays out like this. He wakes up early in the morning, goes for a hike, maybe watches the sunrise, then he heads back into town and does whatever he needs to do online. His day job involves helping authors with their books and concepts of marketing. He proudly proclaims that he can do that job from anywhere. About 20 of Cerro Gordo's 400 original buildings are still standing, including an old brothel, a bunkhouse, and a general store. Most of them are reamed with bullet holes. And since it's almost impossible to get building supplies shipped up to a mountaintop, Underwood started taking timber out of these abandoned mines and reusing them to rebuild the structures in the old ghost town. Deep beneath the town, Brett found all types of trinkets and treasures, from old bullets and hidden pistols to newspaper clippings, dynamite, and a 103-year-old jacket. At one point, he found an old briefcase loaded to the brim with every part of this specific miner's life, including love letters, divorce statements, mining claims, and lawsuits.
The other night, I decided to sleep down in an abandoned mine.
Yesterday, I found a 350-year-old coin in an abandoned silver mine. I'm gonna try to squeeze my way through and see what's in there, and hopefully find some treasure.
Underwood said that Cerro Gordo will never ever be done. Once the town is fully restored and open to visitors, he wants to expand by building more cabins and campsites through the remainder of the 300-acre property. It's a project that he suspects will last a lifetime to complete, but he's committed himself wholeheartedly to the cause of rebuilding Cerro Gordo. Believe it or not, he actually doesn't have an exit plan. An exit plan is him dying there. If you have not checked out Brett Underwood's channel or Cerro Gordo, I'll place a link for all of that in the description below. Guys, if you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. As always, be kind, rewind. Peace.